Is everyone emotionally exhausted? Because we are. Those were some games, huh?
I mean, if you would have asked me if 3 of the games were going to go into extra time, I would have said absolutely not. That's not going to happen. And the 4th game almost went into extra time. It was so close. Well, yeah, we're emotionally tired from these games.
Yeah, it was an extra time / PK kind of day.
Yeah, definitely was.
But it made for some exciting soccer.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting. It was emotionally exhausting, but very exciting. How's it going, everyone? What we're going to do today is we're just going to talk about the 4 games. I don't know how much I'm going to edit this because I want it to get up as soon as I can. But just like I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this, we started watching the games it was our time, local, 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. the whole entire day. Now, that was always going to be the plan, but the way it happened, it felt more exhausting than if it was just 3 games, if it was just the normal 90 minutes per game. It was just more exhausting.
I'm going to make a confession. I wasn't exhausted. I was stimulated. I loved it. I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, we were screaming. I mean, the highs and the lows.
I was flossing. I was doing the floss dance when I got excited.
Yeah. But we're going to start with USA versus Japan. And, I told you this last time, Sarah. Although I'm rooting for USA, Japan was my other team. It's unfortunate they had to meet each other in the quarters, but I knew one was going to be victorious and one was not.
She cried when Japan lost.
I did.
I'm just kidding.
I was sad. I like them. I think they're a good team. And, I mean, Japan is tactically sound. They always come in with a plan. They always execute their plan, and they're very disciplined. I mean, and although it was an exciting game at the end, for the first 90 minutes, it wasn't the most exciting. But first off, they only had 17 players. Sam Coffey was out, and they didn't get to replace that player, which would be Sam Coffey, with another player. So they were already down to 17 players. That meant they had less availability. Tina Davidson was still out. So they were down players. It was going to be an uphill battle for the United States. Most people are saying, I even saw this on Twitter. It was like a notes app. It was saying everything Lindsey Horan was doing wrong. And it was a lot.
Oh, dear.
Most people thought Lindsey Horan actually had a pretty horrible game. And I know there's a lot of criticism. When you're a captain, there's a lot of pressure. And if people don't think that you're playing up to a standard, they're not going to be shy to say it. Obviously, Sarah and I aren't, going to analyze what Lindsey Horan did right or wrong. But I think that was one of the problems that people said. The midfield was kind of lacking, invisible. But, I thought it was going to, I thought Japan might pull it out. I saw a lot of comments online saying Japan's getting away with a lot. The ref isn't blowing her whistle. There was one where TRINITY RODMAN kind of got elbowed in the back that most people thought was a foul and wasn't called. But that usually happens, 0-0. Then it went into extra time. And I'm going to tell you this. I knew if United States didn't score, United States was going to win in PKs. I did not have any. I had 100% of the faith of United States in the penalty kick area. So I was thinking, if Japan scores, it's going to be tough. But if we get to PKs, I think we're winning. That part I was pretty sure of. But even though we didn't do well on PKs last World Cup, but Japan also has not historically been good on PKs. But our PKs, I think, overall would have been stronger. But it never got there because in the 105th plus 2 minutes, TRINITY RODMAN did score a beautiful goal. I mean, it snuck right past the keeper.
I'm pretty sure I manifested this goal because I was just messing around and I was working on not even an edit. I was just messing around and I happened to be doing a TRINITY RODMAN edit. I finished it and I showed Sarah. I was just like, oh, this is so silly, whatever. And then literally a minute or two after, TRINITY RODMAN freaking scores. So you're welcome. You're welcome, America.
So yeah, Sarah's you manifested that, and it worked because she really was working on that. And I will insert that what she made because it's beautiful. But it was awesome. Some criticisms I saw. Obviously, Lindsey Horan, the midfield in general, but sub management. They brought Lynn in right before the extra time. Then Emma made subs in the extra time. And they thought, I saw a lot of people say, why not bring in the subs sooner? Maybe you could maybe of one before it went to extra time. Is was she waiting too long for the subs? And then I saw interesting comments about Emma Hayes is not used to tournament style playing, because WSL, you don't do tournament style. You do, it's a shield. It's throughout the whole entire season. It's not like the NWSL where you have the shield and they have tournament style to make the champion. Emma Hayes has done that in her career, but not recently. So I saw that kind of criticism as well. But some people were kind of questioning the sub situation. I saw a comment go, "Oh my God, is this Vladko all over again?" Like everyone says, a win is a win is a win.
Is a win.
Yes. And Emily Fox did go down. We don't know an update. It didn't look good. We need her. But most people are saying if Emily Fox is out for the next game, Casey Kruger can fill in her position and do it beautifully. So although that would be bad because she's amazing, Casey Kruger's amazing.
Good.
Yeah. But what did everyone think? Did everyone think it was going to be, there was a moment in time I thought Japan was going to win, but I said, I think the US is going to win. Extra time. I just had a vision. Everyone looked so tired at the end. I mean, I saw Emily Fox's face before she got injured. Her face she looked hot. I was nervous thinking all these players are going to be gassed on Tuesday. Although they're going to be gassed, every other team is going to be exhausted on Tuesday. So no one has that advantage because every single team was pushed to the max today. Even the Brazil team at the end, it didn't go to extra time, but it was a very long outing for them. What did everyone think? USA versus Japan. USA wins. This was the match, I think, and I think a lot of people expected it, but Japan came close. But United States, they're one in the gold, but that's another story. Then this game, I think, shocked a lot of people. Spain versus Colombia. And what was happening, I don't know if I mentioned this, we were watching the United States game. We missed the first half of the Spain game because it was the extra time for the United States game. That happened for the Canada game. So we were catching these games at halftime and then on, but we practically saw the full match because we practically watched, a full game, because of the extra time.
Yeah, and they were just as exciting.
Yeah. Colombia versus Spain. And when I first clicked over to see what the score is, I saw it was 1-0 Colombia. I go, what? 1-0 Colombia? But in the 12th minute, MAYRA RAMIREZ scored. And as we know, she was suspended 2 games, and A, she was well rested, but B, she was hungry and she wanted to beat Spain, and she scored. Beautiful goal. And it was 1-0. Were you surprised to see that when you saw the score? Even though we weren't technically watching, were you surprised?
Yeah, I was surprised, and definitely surprised that Spain didn't score until a lot later.
Yeah. It was 1-0 until the 52nd minute, and Santos scored for Colombia. So it was 2-0 Colombia. At that point, although I felt good about Colombia winning, Spain is just, they're the comeback team. They always stay cool. They know they don't panic. I did not feel like this was in the bag for Colombia at all. It's Spain.
I really did think that Colombia was going to take it. And I was like, sorry, Spain, but, Colombia's bringing it. But then Spain brought it.
Yeah. I don't know what minute Jenni Hermoso came in, but every single time she comes in, she changes the game. And I saw some comments on Twitter. It's like, should they bring her in earlier to change the game? Because she scored in the 79th minute. She just changes the game. It's just like, okay, we're ready to score now. Okay, everyone ready? Let's do it. And she scored in the 79th minute, and I said, oh no, they're coming back.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Then at the very end of regulation, very end, Sarah, Spain scores again.
Paredes. You can say it too, Sarah. No, Paredes.
Scored. And I go, yep. This was kind of meant to happen. Spain is Spain. We can't forget that. Colombia kind of collapsed in a lot of ways, But one of the problems was there was a lot of injuries. A lot of the players went down. Some may say it was dramatics or whatever, but Linda Caicedo seems like she really got hurt. I don't have an update on her, but she was on the sidelines for a long time. And at first I thought she'd have gone back in the game. Then I saw her back on the sidelines. It she got hurt, and then she played for a second longer, and then she got hurt. So I don't know the update on her. Obviously they're kicked out, but I felt so bad because she's so important to Colombia, and it did not look good.
Hope she's okay.
But then it went to extra time. And this game, I actually thought Spain was going to score in regulation, but they did not. So it went to our first PKs of the day. And long story short, when USME, when her PK was saved by the goalie, I thought it's over. Even if it's just one goal. I just, at that point, it's Spain attacks when they know a weakness. They see a weakness. And when USME's goal was saved, I said, that's it. Spain made all their PKs. So that was it. At that point, I knew Spain was winning. But it was a crazy game. It went so long. It looked so hot. These players Spain's going to be so gassed for Tuesday. But like I said, everyone is. But yeah, so pumped for Spain. I'm going to say something wild. I was a Spain hater because they're so good. Now I root for them. You guys are so good. Even though, yes, they're not the Spain of last year. But I root for them.
Girl, you are wild.
What did everyone think about that game? Because that game went so long, we did not watch the first half of Germany-Canada. I like Canada, but I was not rooting for Canada because they are our arch nemesis, Americans.
No, I was fully rooting for Germany. They had my support. I was cheering them on. Sorry, Canada.
Yeah.
Love ya, but...
Canada's personal story about being done run by their coaches. Yes, at that part, I'm I root for Canada as people and as players. But, and not just that, I actually think this is the match we'll face in the semis. It will be the winner of this match, which was Germany. But I'd rather face Germany than Canada. We already beat them. Again, what a crazy game. If you would have told me this game... I was telling Sara, statistically speaking, all three of these games going into extra time is not statistically common.
Yes, according to my calculations, it's very low statistically. I mean, what a day.
Even my notes, I have notes in front of me. I don't even have that many notes. All I have is it was a no-scoring game. So they didn't score at all until they went to a shootout. But there were some crazy moments in the game. Both teams came very close. I mean, there was a few balls from Canada that probably should have gone in. There was a few balls from Germany that probably should have gone in. And I have in my notes at the 100th minute, it got crazy. I don't know what got crazy, but it got crazy. I remember screaming. And also, we're going to talk about Ann-Katrin in 1 second. But a couple Ann-Katrin was being a little wild. There was a moment where her and one of her defenders, I know her name, but I'm going to mispronounce it, but she kicked her. And it was a miscommunication. And because Ann-Katrin really likes to come out of the goal and be a field player. And I mean, obviously she was the hero of the match, but there was a few wild moments of this game. And I'm thinking, we were rooting for Germany, but I'm what is wham? But it was PK time. Sara loves a good old shootout. I think you're a little traumatized by the US shootout last year. You used to love them until last year.
I know. It's just so stressful because what if that happens again? And what if your team doesn't advance? It's too sad.
But this actually this PK shootout was very reminiscent of last year's World Cup with the USA. First up was Germany goal. Canada made their first goal. Then second Germany player goal. And then Canada's Ashley Lawrence, her goal was saved by the keeper. And at that moment, I go, it's just going to take one. I really had the thought, it's just going to take one. And Germany's going to pounce. I really felt that.
I'm sorry, her name is not the keeper. It is AKB. Put some respect on that name.
And I never realized this. Ann-Katrin's approach is don't really move until the very end and then move. And I kind of hated it / loved her wind up.
Yeah, she had her hands behind her back just before she went to make a save, and I'm there's no way she's going to be able to move around and jump around with her hands behind her back, but she impressed and bow down because wow.
She impressed, and she just read the player so well. She literally just read the player. Then Germany actually missed their third PK. Then Leon came up to take hers. And then the hero of the game, Ann-Katrin, saved it again 2 times in a row. It wasn't a miss from Leon. It was a save.
And my favorite thing is when she would make those saves, I think she would get a little bit of a smile on her face. She's not much of a smiler, I don't think, when she plays. But
she had a smirk.
Yeah, it was kind of a smirk. But she's cheering. Oh, so cute.
Yes.
I love it.
Then Germany made their next one. Then this is where it just got wild. Jenni and Becky came up. If Ann-Katrin would have saved it, it would have been game over. Becky kicked. I thought Ann-Katrin did 3 in a row. I mean, that would have been GOAT status if it was 3 in a row, but it just slipped by her. That spin on the ball was crazy. And at that point, I'm thinking, and I'm like, I just was like, what are we watching here? I've never, yeah, you see these things, but she just stepped up so much. Then I was not expecting her to take the final PK. That was the last thing on my bingo card.
In Alyssa Nair fashion, she took the PK herself and smashed it and won the game.
Yes.
I mean,
she made the game-winning PK, and I love when keepers make PKs, go up to the PK line. They just go for it. They just go kick it. There's no waiting. They just kick it. It goes in. And yeah, I mean, is that the new thing? Keepers going to be doing the PK shots?
I hope so, because I love to see it. I mean, there's a reason I'm in love with goalies. For me, they're the best, and they should get all the glory. I know the goal scorers get the glory, but I'm sorry, they're making the saves, and they're heroes. They're my heroes.
Yeah, every goalkeeper, watch out, because Sarah's a crush on you. But that was it, And like Sarah said, Ann-Katrin doesn't seem to smile too much, but her teammates came and jumped on her. Yeah. She was smiling so much. It was so cute. Everyone was so excited. And a story like her, I did not realize this. Before the Olympics started, I did not realize how Ann-Katrin really hadn't had that many international caps for Germany, and the fact that she's playing at the Olympics, doing so well, and I did know this, that she beat cancer twice, and now she's playing, and she's not older, but 33, and like doing so well at the Olympics, and this is like a hero moment for her. Yes, it is the quarters, but this moment she can always live.
Oh, she's unfreaking stoppable.
Yeah. So what a cool story for her. I mean, obviously she's our Gotham keeper.
I was gonna say, I think it's because she's getting extra playing time, because she's been impressing at Gotham. I don't know.
Yeah. So her story, this is her moment. This was her game. This was her moment. So happy for her. And Germany was so excited. On the other hand, Canada was absolutely crushed. Their faces, they were distraught beyond belief, and understandably, their experience of this Olympics has been, they have to go back to Canada and regroup and see what happens when they get back there. They were hoping to bring home a gold to kind of show everyone we won it, and they did so much, but it just wasn't meant to be. And so I felt bad for them. Although I was rooting for Germany, I did feel really bad for them. It's just a really crappy situation that they were put in, but they fought out there.
But we know that's the way the game goes. One team has to win, one team has to lose.
Yeah. So Germany versus United States. I think the storyline of Ann-Katrin against Emma Hayes, we've talked about it. I'm telling you, Ann-Katrin wants to beat Emma Hayes in the semifinals to kick her out of the Olympics so badly, I would assume. And she really, really, really wants to do that.
It's just adding fuel to the fire. I mean, it's going to be a spicy one.
Yeah. Then, last match. By this time, I was emotionally exhausted from everything, but we missed the first half. But it is France versus Brazil. And obviously, we know that Marta, suspended for this game, could not play. And, they kept showing her in her box, but so sad that we thought maybe that was her last game, that she got the red card. We found out two things. We found out it was only a 1-game suspension, so she will be able to play the next game, so she could have her redemption and a better ending game. So we did find that out. But going into that match, again, we didn't watch the first half. But, when I looked at the score again, France missed their PK. They had a PK in the 16th minute, and they missed that. And, the way that the game ended, I'm sure she's going to look back at that and say, what if I would have made that? What if it would have changed the whole outcome of the game? Possibly. I mean, that's the way athletes think. But, when you miss, and at home, they were playing in France, the home crowd, Wendy Renard was back playing. She was injured. She was back. The crowd was packed. I think I was rooting for Brazil because of the Marta storyline. Anytime you lose at home in a situation like that, it's just heartbreaking. And obviously I'm jumping ahead, but seeing the French fans and the French players, it is hard. They're under Friday night lights because it was a night game. But that game, again, no scoring until the 82nd minute. I was convinced it was going to extra time as well. I said, this is going to extra time. It's written in the stars. All 4 of these games are going to go in extra time.
Yeah, that would have been one heck of a day, but still was heck of a day.
Yeah, and I mean, I do have a lot of notes here, but the 2 things that stuck out from this game, it was chippy, it was physical, there was a lot of yellow cards handed out by Sarah's favorite ref, Tori Penso.
Yes, did that match get heated? Oh my gosh, there was pushing and shoving, physical fights. At one point, it was, oh my gosh, the ref could not even contain the players. She couldn't break it up. She looked so small, and the little players. It was, oh gosh, it was crazy.
It was spicy out there, and I just think I saw a comment on Twitter said Brazil was playing like if they didn't win, they had to go to war or something, and they really put everything out there. And some people don't like that style of playing. Some people thought there was some exaggerations. They went down too much, they were, flopping. But it's like, I guess that's just the job for the ref too, to make sure that they are, reffing fairly. But I felt bad for the French crowd, they want to see it. But Brazil was saying, we're not losing, basically.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody got a red card at the amount of yellow cards that were handed out. I thought every single player was going to get a yellow card at least, because it was wild.
Yeah. So, and do those carry over to the semifinal? I'm actually not quite sure. I'm assuming they do, but I don't know. And also Rafaelle went down. She went down and she was carried off in a stretcher. And I don't know an update. However, I saw her after the match, and she had like a crutch, like a half a crutch on. So who knows if she's going to be able to play in the next round. But again, this match I thought was going to extra time, but it had a lot of added time. It had about 17 minutes. And that's kind of when some of the craziness happened. There were so many balls that could have gone in on both sides. And those are the moments where it's just like a millimeter this way, a millimeter that way. And that part is hard. Brazil was basically saying, we're doing this for Marta. Like, I really truly felt that. They kept showing her in the box, up, because she was suspended. But they said, we're doing it for Marta.
They were not letting up. They persevered, and this is what happened. And I was rooting for Brazil too. So
yeah. I mean, and that was pretty much the game. It did not go to extra time, but it did have 18 minutes or 17 minutes of stoppage time. And the winning goal was in the 82nd minute from Brazil. Like I said, I thought it was going to extra time, but Brazil scored in the 82nd minute, and that was it. So it was wild. But what a wild day. The least exciting match was United States versus Japan. Some people say Japan's type of soccer is not the most exciting, but they really have a plan. But that Brazil, to end the game on that Brazil-Canada match with the home country, losing, although I was happy for Brazil, I did feel really bad for France. Losing at home at the Olympics is always tough. And I felt bad, but you win some, you lose some. But yeah, Marta looked really happy. They showed her as much at the very end as like she was the president.
She is. No.
And those fights, there was one where the Brazilian player pulled on one of the French players. I don't know the names. I'm so sorry. And then the French player punched the Brazilian player because the Brazilian player wasn't letting up. She shouldn't have grabbed her thing, but then maybe she shouldn't have punched her. But then if I was the French player, I probably would have punched her too. Good thing it was just yellow though.
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy.
Did everyone see that? But who does everyone have in the semis? United States versus Germany, Spain versus Brazil. It's gonna be tough, and also 3 of these are going to be medal winners, and then 1 is going to be 4th place team, which is always the hardest in this kind of situation. But I'm rooting for America. But if Germany won, I would not be sad, even though they did win in 2016. But that's another story. And then also Spain versus Brazil. Hey, it's a toss-up.
I want Brazil for Marta, but I also want Spain. Can everybody win?
I just think Spain overall, I don't know. Something clicked with me of the Spain team today. Something endearing happened. I go, I just like them. Questions, comments down below. It's also going to be a rematch for these 2 teams because they both played each other already in the Brazil just played Spain the other day, and United States played Germany last week. So, hey, the rematches for both teams. It will be very cool.
USA all day, every day. Bring it home, ladies. Let's go.
Yeah, but very cool day. The ending of the Canada Germany game was our favorite, though. We were screaming at the top of our lungs, and just a cool moment. And we will see what happens. Olympics are almost over, and it's sad, but
let's just say Jess Carter is a very lucky lady.
Oh dear.
I'm just joking.
Questions, comments down below. We'll talk to everyone later. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
That was funny.